Welcome to Midpoint, OCC's midweek podcast aimed at helping you connect with last week's message and prepare you for next week's sermon. Let's dive in.
Well, hello and welcome to Midpoint, your midweek connection to OCC. I think I've done it so far. We were just laughing offline here that this is the first time I'm not walking in with the intro and outro written down for me.
Script, yeah.
I'm a little. This is new.
You're the little acorn that could. You're
I
growing.
got it.
You're growing.
Does it have to be the little acorn though?
Oh, sorry.
Come on, James.
That was the generic analogy.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm giving you a hard time. Can I be the big acorn, please?
Let's start over. No.
Yeah. And thanks for listening to Midpoint, guys. We're going to just see you later. This went off the rails so quickly. No.
I think we can redeem it. We can pull it back.
Here we go. Well, hello and what? No, well, hey, we are happy to be sitting together.
Yes.
James and I are here going to chat through this past week, and we had a lot of fun stuff go on. And let's talk a little about what we saw, what happened. We had a sermon that you walked through that was kind of something you've taught before, but
we do that one every week, and for sure every year we do this particular sermon, but because of the annual meeting, the church bid-niss meeting.
Business meeting.
All up in your business. And so that was exciting to again, kind of try and repackage, share again the purpose, mission, vision, the 4-chair model that we use, those things that we talk about pretty frequently. Yeah. But we got to talk about them so much that people start to internalize it and even use the language and really catch the vision and buy in. So another good opportunity. It's something I never grow tired of talking about.
Well, I appreciate it. And I think it's always good to pull the chairs up on stage and to have the signs and to be able to talk through that. Yeah. Can I ask this? Where did the 4-chair model originate from? Where did that start from?
That's our buddy Matt Walden, who was on staff as the executive pastor here for years, had read a book by a guy named Dan Spader. Okay. And Spader's follow-up book. The first book was good. He gave it to me and I read it. Spader's follow-up book, and he's probably written more. These are the two that I'm aware of. Yeah. The follow-up book is called 4-Chair Discipling. And it literally is walking through the 4 chairs that we use. So, we stole every bit of it, but it's so solid. And Spader's idea truly is, hey, you can steal this. This is the process that I see churches engaging in that helps you flesh out, okay, if you say you want to make disciples, what does that really look like? And this is something, I've talked with you about, I've talked with everybody on staff. When you're trying to evaluate processes, it's very, very hard sometimes to know what to evaluate because we rush as people to evaluate outcomes. And sometimes that's wonderful. But there are times like when the outcome doesn't match the input. Like maybe we didn't even do the right thing and God blew it up and blessed it. And you're like, oh, we did such a great job. No, we really didn't. Like we didn't do our part well, but the result was great. So we need to evaluate and go, where can we get better? Cool. And there are times, of course, I think that honestly we do the parts that we feel like we're supposed to do really, really well. And for whatever reason, that isn't in God's will or there's something. And so the output or the outcome doesn't match the input. Okay. And so legitimately, you shouldn't get a bad evaluation then because you did the part that you can do correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when we're talking about disciple making, it's not 100%, apples to apples, but it's kind of like salvation. You can't save anybody. I can't save anybody. Yeah. So I can't evaluate it going, hey, did that person get saved? Because that's not, you can only do the parts you can do. Did you share the gospel with them? Did you pray with them? Did you give, those are the things you can evaluate. So we look at that 4-chair model to go, here are benchmarks. Here are targets that we look at. We're like, are we seeking people who don't know Jesus? Do we have a strategy to reach folks who are in chair 1?
Which is that lost chair.
Yeah, the lost chair. Okay. And so in that, like if we don't know anybody who would be in the lost chair, we can't really say that we're nailing that part of our disciple-making process. Once we find people there, again, the whole idea is we can't save them. Yeah. But we sure can point them to Jesus. We share the gospel. We tell them about it, hoping that God is placing a call in their lives, which he is because he desires everyone to be saved. And they respond to the call, and then they end up in chair 2, the believer chair.
They get moved or they move, Yeah.
And so truly the entire 4-chair process is less from a practical standpoint about the actual 4 chairs, but about the movement between the chairs.
Ooh, that's good.
And so the person who moves from chair 1 to chair 2, we were part of that process, but they made that choice and place their faith in Jesus. From there, it probably gets more hands-on, honestly.
Yeah.
Because with a believer, we can walk alongside them and try to help them discern what their Holy Spirit gifts are, find places to serve here in the body, and they can then move to that worker chair. Once they're there, again, the whole idea is, now do you see that part of the plan that God has for you for abundance in your life is that you would be a disciple maker? Someone walked alongside you and got you, to where you're moving to this spot. Can you do that? Can you find somebody who's at any one of the chairs behind you? Because a lot of times disciple making, especially in the church, and probably especially for us vocationally in the church, a lot of our disciple making isn't with folks who are lost. We are finding folks who are new in the church and they're looking to get connected.
Yeah.
And we're saying, hey, follow me as I follow Christ. You get a leader, hey, I want to be a youth leader. Fantastic. Come and check it out.
Yeah.
Come sit and observe.
Yeah.
Then come be in a small group and hang out in the small group for several months.
That's all discipleship.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an opportunity to lead that small group. Well, I'm still in the small group, but I'm going to, and then eventually you're going to lead it on your own. Well, what were you doing? You were disciple making.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah. But again, it's you can't get to that spot unless you have some intentional steps that and so that's what the 4 chairs really do for us. So when we present them, I'm like you. I like putting them on stage. I like putting the signs on. I like people seeing the mileposts. For us, practically, for anybody who's a disciple maker, practically, are we thinking about the movements between those 2 chairs and how when you get to the end, you're not done. Now you just keep repeating that process over and over and over again.
Can I pause for a second? You said repeat the process. You are not meaning that I hit chair 4 and now I have to go back and be lost and go.
No. As you are helping people progress through those
You
stages.
are still sitting in chair 4, but now you are reaching down and grabbing somebody and helping them. Okay.
Yeah.
Just clarifying. That's good.
And so in that's the beauty of that. Because like I say, if you really, I hope we are aware of opportunities around us all the time. Sometimes you might be in chair 4 and literally just go back and grab somebody who's in chair 3.
And help them become a disciple maker.
God places somebody in your life. And I've seen so many great examples of this in my life. I've seen neat stories. Truly, the guy who encouraged me to enter into vocational ministry. I was in chair 3.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I could see you serving on Young Life staff. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And he was like, hey, would you be willing to kind of follow me in this process? And goodness gracious, what do you know? I ended up selling my business and that I thought I'd do forever and entering into ministry where you have to raise your own money. And I was like, what am I doing?
Chair 3 was kind of comfortable. Can I go?
Like in chair 3, I make some money. I like what I do. Like all these things are pretty good. So in that, it literally is. And so like I say, that's the beauty to me. You can come back and get somebody in chair 3. You can sure come back and find somebody who's brand new in the church and is looking to get connected and disciple them. And again, I hope and pray. This is the area maybe, I'm not trying to indict the church, but this is the area maybe where the church struggles the most. We don't think about going all the way back to chair 1 and grabbing people. And sometimes it is. And I've asked this question just because it got asked of me very early in my faith journey. And because of sports and literally because of my business even early on, I knew a lot of people who were not believers. I was still playing a lot of softball, playing a lot of basketball. I played in racquetball leagues and played club. Like all these things where I had tons of opportunities to be around people who were not Christ followers. Yeah. And I was, I enjoyed being an evangelist at that time. And then you get into ministry and like you spend most of your time around other Christ followers. And sometimes I think we lose that passion for going and hanging out with people. Well, they talk different than I do and they act different. Yeah, but they need Jesus. and you know Jesus, and you might have a relationship with them.
I think it's a key distinctive factor here that when you're in chair 4, discipleship is happening from chair 2 and chair 3 when you're interacting. But when you're interacting with chair 1, that's evangelism.
Yeah.
And moving them
that's a good point.
Moving them from chair 1 to chair 2, that's evangelism. And the discipleship happens once they're in chair 2. Once they're in chair 2.
Yeah.
And so evangelism, we need to be evangelizing. We also need to be discipling. Like that's very clear in Matthew, the end of Matthew, that we need to be sharing the gospel. We also need to be discipling.
Yeah. And if there's a term that's more scary than discipleship, it's evangelism. And so I don't know that it's like, hey, be careful and stay away from these phrases. I honestly like, as Paul says, just follow me as I follow Christ. Because at least maybe that's not as scary. But yes, you're really right from a pure semantic standpoint. It's not that, well, I can't do that because I don't have the gift of evangelism or this or that. No, we're all called to share our story. We are all called to be ambassadors. And so in that, if you're afraid of the E word, that's fine. But that's exactly what you're doing if you go all the way back to chair 1.
Which you need to be going back to chair 1. Even if you're fearful or if it's intimidated by the E word, we still need to be doing that.
I feel like so many people just think, well, I'm not good at that, or I'll mess that story up, or this or that.
I'm not going to stand on some box on a street corner and yell.
And again, there's a simple answer, and it's a direct answer to get over yourself on that one. You can't save anybody anyway.
Amen.
So like if you do it poorly, but God still has them predestined for, like he's going to save them, and the hilarity to me in that, of course, you hear great stories on this. And I always hear the story of the guy who led D.L. Moody to Christ, and that he, went and found Moody in a shoe store and shared the gospel with him. It's like, that's the worst gospel presentation ever, and he goes back lamenting. And of course, Moody accepts Christ and becomes stinking D.L. Moody.
Yeah.
It's really not us. It's Christ in us. And we just got to be obedient to go do those kind of things. And so that's the thing for me, and not that you're going to stand on a box on the corner unless God tells you to do it.
If that's what God has for you, then do it.
But I think it's just such a phenomenal place to be in, to go, I'm just going to share my story, and this is what God has done. And see what God does, see how he uses it.
Remember, there was a book that I read kind of right at the end of my time at Moody, one of my preaching classes, and I forget who the author was, but it was this book called The People Across the Room, I think is what the title was. And it was, the whole premise of the book was, find the person who is immediately across from you in the room. Be aware of who's across from you. Be aware of who's around you, because those people are there for a reason. Be willing to just cross the room and interact with that person.
Was it just walk across the room?
It might have been walk across. Yeah, I forget exactly what it was.
I think it's an old Bill Hybels book.
You're right. Yeah. Okay, but it's this idea of cross the room, interact with those people, interact with a person that's directly across from you.
Yeah,
it is a Bill Hybels book. You're right. Yeah. But I think that's so convicting, because I think so often we go through life, we go through Rosars, or we go through wherever, the gas station, and we're just so blinders on that we're like, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to look, I'm going to say one word, I'm going to do. But are we willing to just be like, hey, that person's there, maybe I need to interact. Maybe that person's there for a reason, because they are. Yeah. But are we willing to walk across the room? Yeah, that was it. Well, good memory.
And you don't know, I enjoyed the book. Yeah. With that, it is that thing, some of it, I guess, you get to a spot and you're like, well, I'm busy and I've got this. And I understand all that. But it doesn't take that much time to interact with people, and you don't know what's going to land. Yeah. And I always think of this because, again, I do a lot of the witnessing that I do at the convenience store where I buy my Diet Coke.
By the way,
because I'm there a lot.
I've been hitting that one up every Sunday morning for an energy drink because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And they've learned my order now, and I'm like,
nice.
They're very intentional, and they're the exact same people every Sunday morning because they've done the night shift. Yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is good.
Well, God puts people in your path, and you get that opportunity. And I bought breakfast for the staff deal today, and with the guy, and he was like, "That's a lot for you."
Thanks, dude.
I wasn't planning on eating 4 muffins and 4 donuts and 5 breakfast burritos, but thank you.
Hey, appreciate that.
But in that, the last time I was in there and talking with him, and he said something like, he knows what I do. He knows where I'm the pastor. I've invited him to church several times, never bitten on close to anything. And we're talking, and he said the funniest thing that I've ever heard somebody in that encounter say. He goes, well, you could use that as a sermon illustration. I was like, what do you know about sermon illustration?
Are you writing it for me?
But I was like, that is really, really funny. Where's he picked up that vernacular? I just don't know. So I'm interested in where that might go.
And the continued interactions are so cool.
Yes.
And I think that's the life on life interactions that are so important to evangelism, to discipleship. That are we willing to use those interactions? The exact same person that rings up my energy drink every single Sunday morning. Are the person that has figured out, what you like and what you don't like, and dropping sermon illustrations on you. Can that be used as a way just to love people, care for people, but also show them Jesus?
Buddy, if I use it, I'm crediting you. I'm telling you.
I got you, my friend. Yeah.
So good stuff. So that's, as we walk through purpose, mission, vision, as we go through 4 chairs, that's where the 4 chairs are. We stole them, which, that's the... Yeah. What do they say? The benchmark of creativity is forgetting where you stole something from. Yeah. But we know where we stole this one, which is good. And it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Just out of curiosity, this is a type of sermon that you've done before, and it's so helpful and great reminders. As the senior pastor of this church, as the one that's teaching this sermon, looking out at the body, what is your heart? What is your prayer? What is your desired outcome for the body to do with a sermon like this?
Yeah.
What are you wanting the action? What is the application you want from the body for a sermon like this?
That's a great question, Andrew. And I think for me, it almost always is, and I said it early in the sermon this time, are we willing to look at ourselves and ask, okay, where am I?
That's really
I just got to be real honest and say, okay, it doesn't matter. If I'm in the lost chair, and there are folks who show up every week for church who are lost, and they came because a family member invited them or they somehow sensed God calling them, whatever, they show up there. It's not as many. Church is not designed for unbelievers specifically. But there's a lot of folks, certainly at OCC, who come, and I'm sure they're believers, and like they show up at church on Sunday, whether it's fairly often or hit and miss, and they do it, why? To check a box, to feel better about themselves? Like, are they applying anything? I think they've
maybe
really...
because they've hit rock bottom and they need
and of course that may be it, and that would be, as sad as this is to say, I don't want it to sound disparaging, that'd be wonderful if that was, because that's the thing that would help them move, I think, further along their path. Sanctification is always, it's a process. Like, salvation's a moment. Sanctification is until Jesus comes back or we're gone. Yeah. And so how are they going to grow in their love for the Lord and their application of his word? And so that's what you're looking at. Wherever we are, we might be disciple makers, and there's a real challenge in there to say, okay, great. Are you missing opportunities, or is there something you're supposed to do with somebody that God has put in your path? Are we willing to examine ourselves and say, okay, if we're sold out, if OCC is our church home, and we believe relational connection is the purpose, if we believe disciple making is the mission, if we know we're supposed to join God as he transforms lives, how are we doing? And looking in the mirror is tough. There are times you look in the mirror and you think, well, gosh, that looks pretty good. And there are times you look and you go, oh my gosh, I got a booger out of my nose. I'm glad that I looked in the mirror. So, but we got to be willing to look.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's really good. Well, hey, let's keep charging forward here, because that was not the only thing that happened this weekend. We kind of had a change of normalcy with our Monday night. We typically have a Monday night service. That service is identical to our Sunday services, but we kind of blitzed that because we had our annual business meeting.
Yeah, and we do this every year because by our bylaws we have to, and there are some things that you don't need to know about church business, to be a 501c3 type organization and all these things.
You have to have something like this.
You have to have a meeting like this that is open to the public, and so we do those things, and the bylaws are so goofy it has to happen at a certain time. We have to notify people a certain number of days ahead. Yeah. And so in all those things, we do our due diligence there. But, of course, the big deal for me, for you in the years you've been here, like, we enjoy it. It's a celebration. It's an opportunity to say, hey, I want to tell the body. Yeah. Because especially for you, for Forest West Brenton, like, you don't get time on stage a lot of times to go, hey, here's the things that are happening in student ministry. Are you aware? So as brief a time as it is, it's at least that intentional time to tell people.
That's good.
And so we love that. And of course, then one of the benchmarks that, it's the only time of the year we open up the books. And I mean, we kind of present, hey, here's our budget for this year, and the ministry council has approved this, and this is what we're going to do as we try to be good stewards of the resources God gives. And we print in the weekly bulletin, which most of the time we don't even print anymore. It's just sent electronically. But we print a lot of times, here's how we're doing with, giving to the budget. But it's just not something we talk about a lot. And there's intentional reasons. You don't want to ever, make that a highlight, because then folks will say, well, that church, highlights money, and then they're all about money. And we don't want to do that. But, I mean, and of course, you also don't want to brag on yourself, because this is all God's doing. But like, God has blessed this church enormously financially, and we're in a spot that is so helpful to be debt-free, to have money in the bank.
That's huge.
It's freeing. If this week our HVAC system went out, we would not have to close the church. I mean, like, we would go buy a new HVAC system, because there's money sitting there to do that. And you're like, this is incredible to be able to operate that way. We have folks come
huge.
in, because I know there are local churches that really struggle in that area, local and churches across the world that struggle. Yeah. If we have a unique prayer request come in that is attached with a, gosh, could this person get a hotel room, or could we help this person? We helped a missionary with a car earlier, tail end of last year. Like, we can do that. God has blessed us to be able to be generous to others that way.
Yeah.
It's so encouraging. It's such a blessing to be in that spot. And so we open up the books and kind of go, this is what it is. We had a budget last year of just over 1 million, and we raised more than that. And so we had a surplus in that, and we didn't even spend all we said we were going to spend. So the surplus ended up being bigger than, and when you can stand and go, look what God did. Isn't God amazing? That's a celebration.
That's huge.
That's just a party.
That's a big deal. What were some highlights from last night's? I mean, this is coming out on Wednesday, but so what was some highlights from Monday night's business meeting?
Yeah. Well, the financial piece of that for sure was a big one. I would say the celebration of just what God has been doing from a numerical standpoint, attendance-wise, that is causing us to move forward with these ideas of, hey, we're going to meet with a consultant. Do we augment facilities? Do we build new buildings? Or how are we hearing from the Lord? Maybe we stay exactly where we are and look for other solutions to meet those needs. But
if we can pause for a second, because I'm not sure if some of these listeners were at Monday night or at service. Consultant, talk us through just a tiny bit. What's going on with the consultant? Why are we bringing a consultant in? Help us just catch us up a little bit.
Just because of what we can see in trends of increased attendance and capacity that we know we have before we start seriously violating fire code. The number of people we can fit in services. Again, if you're brand new with us, we offer multiple services. We have 3 services on Sunday morning, 1 on Monday night. There's disparity in the attendance at those, but we offer that many services to try and
spread people out.
And so we made a change in January of 2025 to move to 3 Sunday morning services from 2 because we just couldn't fit everybody well in 2. And also we're having parking lot issues.
A lot of parking issues,
that combine with that. And so we made that change in January 2025 and then saw another year of kind of unprecedented growth, 15.6%.
Wow.
And so when you look at that, again, you're like, oh goodness, we can't really add any more services. What are we going to do? And so we've made some changes in seating configuration. Spreading out the time between services actually was almost as important as adding that 3rd service because that allows the parking lot to clear out before the next.
Having parking lot attendants. I mean, we just are working very hard.
We're doing those kind of things. That's a good catch there, Andrew, because we hadn't done that before. But our parking lot attendants help us a ton. And yes, they're friendly and they stand out there and wave and chat with you. But there are times where they are truly parking attendants. And that's super, super helpful for us.
Really in between the 2 services. When it lets out, that's where it gets crazy out there. I mean,
to try and help people avoid the queue to get back on Bryden Avenue and to direct them to other spots.
Make sure people aren't backing into each other. There's a lot.
So like I say, we're doing those things to deal with these blessings that God has given us with a number of people. But we are in a spot where through the ministry council, through pastoral staff, through leadership here at the church, we have kind of just stubbed our toe a little bit going, well, what truly is the next step God would have us take? And so we felt led to say, well, let's get some people who are very smart and who are outside the box and might not be limited by some of the things we go, we can't do this or we can't do that. And let's kind of dream big. And the beauty of this, and really working with a professional team, these are folks who know what they're doing and they make it very clear, hey, we're going to give you suggestions. You're not bound to any of these things. These are opportunities to go, could this work? Could that work? We're still going to have to make decisions on our own.
And this consulting firm is really focused on what aspect of church life?
Well, they are more of a building concern.
Interesting.
But like I say, in that, they have so much experience
within just ministry.
Well, and we had talked with them about potential of simulcast churches. That was something we'd mentioned a couple different times because it did seem like it was viable for us. And you start looking at some demographics. You start looking at size population of the LC Valley, call it our metropolitan statistical area. When you start looking at that, well, if you're going to simulcast a church, normally they suggest that it be this number of minutes drive away to a community that's of this size. And we don't really fit those demographics very well.
I mean, I really appreciated when they weighed in. They really cautioned us against either a church plant or a simulcast for that reason because there's not enough demographic and it's not far enough away.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate their input on that.
No, and like I say, they were honest about it in a spot where we were like, well, maybe we could make it work, or maybe, you know.
So like, you guys can give it a try,
yeah.
but like, yeah.
But yeah, that just wisdom of the room. Yeah. They're like, I don't think that's the best solution for you. And of course, honestly, and we're just having these conversations, but they're the same ones we had there. They did not recommend us going and trying to buy a new property and then build a new building on it, because it is just incredibly cost prohibitive to think about doing that.
Yeah.
When you already have a debt-free campus you're sitting on, what could you do to augment that? And so, really like I say, it was eye-opening. It was really neat. I know as we debriefed as a staff after sitting with them, everybody was like, that was really helpful.
Yeah, it was really good.
That was really, really good. And they, of course, asked great questions about, you know, what's actually happening in children's ministry, in student ministry, in worship ministry. How do you actually use the facility? And yeah, it was eye-opening.
Yeah, it was.
In so many ways. So, like I say, the toughest part of a conversation like that is right now we're nowhere. Like, we're in the process where we met with them, we gave them information. They haven't given us a single, you know, opportunity to say this might be a solution yet. We do have an upcoming meeting scheduled with them March 5th, where we will get probably the first run of them going, hey, what about this? You know, and at that point in time, we'll be able to start weighing options and praying and seeing where we're supposed to go. Like I say, I felt bad last night, as the old joke out of Genesis, you know. In the beginning, there was nothing, and then there was light, and there was still nothing, but at least you could see it. Yeah. And so, like right now, we're in that spot. There's still nothing, but we know that we're on the right track.
We know it's coming. There's something coming.
Yeah. So,
and we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Can I ask a very similar question I asked about the weekend services with an annual business meeting? Yeah. There's so much information given. It's a fire hose. It's you know, there's just each ministry gets up, each one of the pastors, get up and kind of share what's going on. You talk about what's going on. We have financial stuff. People walking out of that, what is the desired go and do that you would like to see the church body do with that?
There's probably two things there, and that's a great question as well, because that's not something that probably ever gets articulated very well to people. Number one, for me, the real win is if people who have questions feel like they can ask and answer, get questions answered. So that, to me, is a huge one. Like, I don't want folks sitting on questions going, well, I don't even know what like, I want us to be able to have that conversation.
Just the transparency is a huge win. Yeah.
So that's a big one for sure. The other one, I really think, is maybe ancillary to that, but at least from a secondary standpoint, talked about it a little bit in the sermon on Sunday. You want buy-in. Yeah. You want people to say, okay, these are the folks who say they love me. They stand in front of me and they say, here's what we think we're trying to do because this is the direction God is leading us, and I trust them. I may not even totally agree with the decisions they're making.
But I'm bought in.
And so I trust the leaders God has placed in my path and in my authority. And that's really, really important. I've talked with a lot of people, and honestly, and I'm not just trying to overly pat anybody on the back here at OCC, this happened more in previous churches where God had me on staff than it has here. But where we would have a meeting, all churches that are 501c3 have to have these kind of business meetings, and you lay out a plan, hey, here's what we're thinking we're going to do, and people would not want to buy in. They'd want to come push back and go, well, what about this or what about that?
Or fight over the color of the carpet. Or,
those kind of things that you hear about that sadly you hear about because they happen.
They're real. They really happen, yeah.
And when you talk to somebody and go, okay, well, we actually did talk about that. We did pray about that. Here's the decision-making process we went through. And here's why we can't do this or that or whatever. And they'll be like, well, I still think you should do it. And then you're just like, oh, my God. Yeah. like, what are we going to do at this point in time? I had a friend who was in construction. And he built a house for another friend of mine. I could mention who these guys are because both of them have passed away, sadly. But it doesn't matter. It was back in Missouri. And so the guy who was the construction guy was building the other guy a log cabin. Oh, wow. And it was beautiful. I mean, when it got done, it was absolutely beautiful. But in the process, boy, these guys butted heads. The construction guy wanted to do everything he could to satisfy all the requirements of the other guy. But the other guy just had requirements that were ridiculous, like things that couldn't be done. And so when they'd poured the basement and he told them, hey, if you're going to have any big furniture, if you're going to have anything that you need down here, like you're going to have to go ahead and move that in now. We'll tarp it, we'll cover it, because otherwise it's not going to get down the stairs. You know, in the design that they'd pulled out with the log cabin, it's like, you know, you'll be able to get stuff down there now. It'll be down there forever. Like if you put a big sectional down there that's in one piece, if you put a pool table, you know, you're going to have to put it in now. And the guy didn't do that. And then, they started building, from the basement up. And the guy who wanted to have the home built said, well, I want a pool table down there.
Listen.
And my buddy who was building the cabin said, we had that opportunity earlier. We don't have that opportunity anymore.
Unless it's going to come in pieces.
Yeah, you can't do it. And my buddy who was wanting the house built said, no, just make it happen. And it was like, it can't happen. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And so sometimes you feel like that in the church. Hey, we're looking at these things. We're going through these steps. And people go, well, just do this. And we're like, we've talked about why we can or can't do these certain things. Do you trust us?
Yeah,
and so in that is a tough process. At the annual meeting, I hope we get some of that. And that's the one thing. And I say this literally at every elders meeting, every ministry council meeting I've been at since I've been at this church. Every annual meeting when we get done, I go home and I'm just smiling. And my wife's like, I guess that went well, right? And I'm like, that went really, really well, because people do seem to go, no, I trust leadership, and this is where we are.
Yeah.
And so when you have that, it's fantastic. It's not to say there won't be outliers, there won't be things, where we just want to be available so people can come and ask the questions. And then it's incumbent on us to say, do we have a reason for why we do what we do?
That's good.
That's really the big deal.
Well, it was another good one, and it went well. There was questions, but it was overall it was good. People seemed to be bought in, so praise God.
Amen.
Well, hey, that's kind of the time we have. Anything you want to add before we finish up? I think that we're in a good spot. What are we looking at next week?
I'm excited. I truly am excited about jumping back into Romans. Romans has had a bumpy start getting started here at the beginning of the year, because we have had stuff with the missions conference, with the annual meeting, where we had to take some breaks. But man, I'm excited about finishing Romans chapter 8, and so we got to jump back in and get rolling. So very excited about that. As we talked with staff earlier this week, might be a two-parter. Still trying to figure that out.
Still processing a little bit.
Yeah, but excited to jump back in.
Good. Well, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you for joining us. We'd love to see you around here. We'll see you at a weekend service. We have a 8 a.m. service. We have a 9:45. I don't have it in front of me. This is scary. 8 a.m., 9:45, and 11:30, as well as a Monday night at 7 p.m. I feel like I should know these details.
We show up at 6:45, so just know we don't really know the times.
Yeah, we're like, I'm here 6:30, 6:45. We're here. Like
we just know we're around and something happens.
If you want to come say hi, 6:30, I'd love to see you on Sunday morning. But hey,
you got the times exactly right. 8, 9:45, and 11:30, and Monday night at 7.
We love you guys. You are so loved by God and Orchards Community Church. We'll see you guys later.
It is true. God bless you.